we've had a hurricane here, and I'm not sure how it affected Augusta and Fayetteville. But, back in the 80s, there was a hurricane called Hugo.
Mm-hmm.
And our mascot for the Charlotte Hornets, his name is Hugo.
Yes.
Named after the hurricane, which blew through and did a lot of destruction. We have a local weather guy named Brad Panovich here. And a lot of people, even outside of Charlotte, know him because he does such great videos talking about the weather and what to expect. And he really goes into deep detail. But he was saying yesterday that Atlanta might be dealing with their Hugo. This could be their Hugo. And the problem is that when the hurricane comes on shore, most of the people close to the coastline are hurricane aware. You know that. You lived in Florida.
Yeah.
But what happens is the people inland let their guard down. Now, Hugo came through in the 80s when there wasn't a ton of, Doppler radars and all that things that we have now. And
35 years ago.
Yeah, the tracking was crazy. And it was 35 years ago earlier this week, right? That was the anniversary.
Yep. September 10th.
But Brad did say that this could be Atlanta's Hugo. And it got me thinking, since it is the anniversary as well, Loren, this week of Hurricane Hugo, let's ask the audience here, what do you guys remember about Hurricane Hugo? Loren and I, obviously, we weren't here. And I guarantee thousands of people listening to the show right now weren't here. So we need to hear from the OGs.
And it was a Category 4 storm when it hit South Carolina. So I don't know what it was by the time it swept through here, but...
I mean, it just caused mass destruction in the Charlotte area. How long was the electricity out for? What was it like to go to the stores? Was there a gas issue, too? Like, could you not get gas for a while? I'm just curious. 704-570-9595.
Don't they typically retire names of hurricanes when they're like of that magnitude?
I think Sandy's retired. Katrina's retired. Hugo's probably retired. This is Helene. Hurricane Helene. But if you're an OG in the North or South Carolina area, what do you remember 35 years ago about Hurricane Hugo? And this is in no way to say be prepared for Helene.
No.
We would have done this if there wasn't a hurricane coming. I'm just curious what y'all remember.
Honestly, you're right. It was this week because, hurricanes have like such a big span of time from the time that they become a hurricane to the time they dissipate. Yeah. And it was like September 10th to the 25th was Hugo's run.
Crazy. Did you consummate the relationship during Hugo?
Did you make a hurricane baby?
Oh, did you have a hurricane? Did you make a little Hugo? Good morning, Jay.
Hey, good morning.
Jay, do you remember the hurricane? What do you remember?
I was 9 years old when it came through. We recently have moved from Ohio 2 months prior to it arriving, and so we were used to like inclement weather like snow and everything else, but this was totally different. We didn't know what to expect, so we were preparing. We were filling up bathtubs of water. We were buying stuff and everything else because we just didn't know. And since you always have the threat of hurricanes coming up the coast all the time, and you were just talking about just a minute ago that, people are unprepared and they don't suspect it or they don't think that anything's going to happen so far inland that everybody think that we're crazy. They're laughing at us. They think that we were nuts.
But you were prepared.
We were, yeah. I live with my grandparents, and they were, they were way older. They were born in the 20s, so they were always, prepared for the worst.
Yeah,
and everything.
Good for them.
So it was pretty scary because, of course, like you said, it was a high category when it made it all the way up here. It was pretty high, like still a 3 or borderline 2.
Yeah, and the winds were crazy. Thanks, Jay. I want to get to as many calls as we can. I appreciate it. We do have a lot of people on hold. Like Debbie says her hubby downplayed it. Debbie, hey.
Hey.
What do you remember from that night? It came through at night, didn't it?
Yes, it hit in the middle of the night, and I told my husband that evening, I said, we're supposed to get a hurricane tonight. He said, no, we're not. I said, yeah, we are. Anyways, we went to bed. I had a 2-year-old son at the time, of course, and he woke me up out of a dead sleep. Wake up, there's a hurricane. And we were not prepared because he didn't believe it.
Right. What kind of damage did you guys have?
Oh, we had a humongous tree in our backyard to fall away from our house, thank God.
Yeah.
And there was a big, humongous hole in the ground. It was bad. We had a lot of trees down. A lot of my family lost power. We got power the same day because we lived close to the
that's great.
hospital.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Lucky you. Lucky you. Debbie was in high school. Real quick, Debbie, how long did you have no power for after Hugo came through?
Debbie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Beth. Hey, Beth.
Oh, hey.
Beth, sorry. No, I said the wrong name. Real quick, how long did you have no power for?
13 days, and the thing that I remember the most was my brother was a volunteer fireman, and I watched him pull away from the house, and I thought, this might be the last time I ever see him. And thank God it wasn't.
Yeah. And listen, Charlotte strong, man. We came back. Not only did we come back, we kicked so much ass, we named our basketball mascot after the hurricane. So, yeah, Hugo, 35 years ago.